Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Community Day, which now officially got announced, and also what got announced, of course, is the new move that Bellsprout/Victreebel is going to get for this Community Day. So we expected Wine Whip, we expected Weather Ball, we expected Poison Jab, stuff like this, but what do we get? We got Magic Leaf, which is not as bad as you might think. I was first kind of shocked about this news, but now after looking at it a little bit, it is mostly not as great as something like Wine Whip. Like, don't get me wrong, 3-turn fast boost kind of suck a lot of times, but it has a lot of potential. And we're going to take a look at this today here. And also, of course, in general, what we're going to have to happen here with the Victreebel. But definitely stay tuned for this, because it is a little bit more, like, it's not really black and white for this one. But interestingly enough, of course, that we have the Pokemon with the hashtag 69, which is the Bellsprout on 420 as a Community Day with Magical Leaf. Wonder who's memeing there at Niantic, but I don't know. Like, honestly, I would rather have to see like something like Poison Jab and Weather Ball, or like Wine Whip and Weather Ball, stuff like this as a move. But I'm also down for memes, so I'm okay with that. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to see here the event bonuses. Catch Stardust, which is of course the most important one anyway, for me at least. I like Catch Stardust quite a bit. This is like the most important one. Otherwise, the stuff that we always have with Catch Candy, Catch XL chance there as well as Lures, as well as Incense, as well as Snapshot Surprises, as well as Special Trade, as well as minus 50% for the cost for basically trading. We're going to have some field research rewards here, and also we're going to have showcases. Here's another graphics from Galaxy, which I always like to use. Of course, you see also on the top right corner, that's the number 69 for Bellsprout on 420, which is kind of funny. I don't know, like, I'm down for memes, but also I always like to have some Pokemon that are better in competitiveness after a Community Day, especially if it's a Pokemon that's been released as a shiny 20,000 times already. So yeah, let's take a look real quick at what this Pokemon can do. We're going to take a look here real quick at the move. That's going to be Magical Leaf compared to some other fast moves, for example, that are also 3 turns. We're going to see here, for example, some other options. We have here, for example, Ice Shot, which is just basically, compared to Ice Shot, you're just going to get 1 more damage actually with Magical Leaf. So Ice Shot you already know from Dugong. So you just do more damage and more energy per turn. It's just better than Air Slash. Air Slash does 1 less damage, 1 less energy per turn. Of course, now, for example, does generate more energy, but does way less damage than Magical Leaf. So Magical Leaf generally has like kind of this, I don't know, I feel like everybody thinks that Magical Leaf is pretty bad because the Pokemon that have it right now, which you can actually take a look at here right now as well, which I don't even know if we can see this Magical Leaf, like nobody's using it. Like, there is not a single Pokemon that really is going to go ahead and say like, yeah, Magical Leaf is my favorite. The first was Hisuian Decidueye, rank 453, just because a lot of Pokemon just have better moves like Leafage. Leafage is most likely a little bit better, but that doesn't mean that Magical Leaf is going to be the worst move ever. Wine Whip is also better to go for, so Wine Whip would have been better for Victreebel, but still, Magical Leaf brings a different side to Victreebel, which you can take a look here as well. We also have here Venusaur as a comparison, because Venusaur might be interesting as it has the same typing, and Wine Whip and Frenzy Plant. So let's take a look at what they can do. We're going to see here basically what they can win and what they don't. We have here, of course, one time the Shadow Victreebel, how we know it right now. We have the Shadow Victreebel with Acid Spray as well, and the normal Victreebel with Acid Spray. We can take a look afterwards at Sludge Bomb as well, which might be interesting for this type of Pokemon that we have. But here we're going to see, for example, that the Shadow variant of the Victreebel, but with the Magical Leaf, is going to be kind of similar to Razor Leaf as well. You lose against Feraligatr, which I think you can win the 2-shield scenario anyway, so like it doesn't really matter. Here as a non-Shadow variant, you can actually win against Cresselia, which is interesting, but Venusaur can do the same. We're going to see here Lickitung as a non-Shadow variant, you can actually win as well against, which is interesting. We're going to have the Pelipper, we're going to have the Poliwrath. Yeah, Pelipper you can actually even win against, which is kind of interesting. Registeer, you kind of lose more against it, but actually with the Shadow variant you can still win, which is interesting. But before, Razor Leaf damage was kind of nice for that. So both variants have kind of different matchups, what you can see here. Like some, for example here, Umbreon you win as a Shadow variant, but you lose as a normal variant, while Victreebel, the normal Victreebel with Razor Leaf, you win as the normal variant, but you lose as the Shadow variant. So like it's a little bit different here, but you see already that the normal Victreebel, non-Shadow, has the same average rating basically as the Shadow Victreebel with Razor Leaf. Venusaur is even a little bit lower. So here you also see that you win 4 more big games here, or like 4 more battles compared to the Shadow variant. So it is not a downgrade directly, but 2 shield scenarios, of course, where usually the Razor Leaf is going to be the most effective, and this is going to be something that is kind of clear for this one. So basically, if you want to have this Pokemon in the 0 shield scenario, which you're gonna take a look here right now as well very quick, you're going to have the best time most likely with something like the Magic Leaf, because you're going to be able to get to that a little bit faster. But way better is even the Venusaur, which you can see it down there as well. You win just way more matchups with it, just because you have superior bulk. If you take a look real quick at the bulk compared for Victreebel, you have a, like really low bulk with this one, while the Venusaur is a little bit more, and it's even not the bulkiest Pokemon ever. But basically, you're going to win way more matchups compared to the Razor Leaf variant. If you go into the 0 shield scenario, you are very even in the 1 shield scenario, and you are going to lose quite more matchups in the 2 shield scenario. So, what this kind of changes is that mainly the way of playing this Pokemon going to change if you run the move Magic Leaf. Before, this was basically to align yourself late game, try to really win back switch advantage. Like this, you can force shields more, because you have like very hard hitting charge moves as well with the Leaf Blade, which is great, and still the Sludge Bomb, which you can take a look at right now as well. So this is going to be an interesting one here as well. So it is definitely an interesting one there. I would not say that it's a clear upgrade either. We're going to take a look here at the 2 shields, where you're actually going to see that the Victreebel is still better than before with the Acid Spray, so Sludge Bomb might be an actual buff for it as well, which you can see here even as well. So Sludge Bomb most likely going to be the way to go over Acid Spray for Magic Leaf, because you just don't have the harder hitting fast move damage. You see here some matchups is always compared to the Razor Leaf variant that you can win now, like Charger Bug, like Cresselia, like the Lickitung, like Pelipper. So it's going to be actually kind of interesting to see on how Victreebel going to adapt for that. But what you also can see here is now that a normal Victreebel might be kinda ideal for a lot of scenarios. You might not even want to have the Shadow variant all the time. That being said, I still think that the Shadow variant might be interesting. It is not too important if you have like certain breakpoints, at least for those Pokemon. There might be some bulk points that you need to hit with this thing, because it's a 3-turn move. Basically, breakpoints only really matter for like 2- and 1-turn moves most of the time, for 3-turn moves sometimes, for 4-turn moves basically never. So basically these are mostly kind of irrelevant, but this is going to be an interesting side grade. I still think that Razor Leaf going to have some play, but I would actually imagine that Magic Leaf might be even going to be better. Here we're going to compare very quickly normal variant to the Shadow variant as well. Here, normal variant is going to have an average rating of, look, that's the Razor Leaf variant. We're going to take a look at the Magic Leaf variant real quick, because Razor Leaf we don't really care too much about. But here, normal one is going to have a rating of 524, getting above compared to Razor Leaf. While if you go for the Shadow variant, you're going to see that it's going to be 505. But if you're going to take a look at Sludge Bomb now, Sludge Bomb is going to change it quite a bit, as this is going to give it a little bit more of a boost for this Shadow variant, but for the normal variant it's also going to help out win some games. I think this Pokemon going to be fine. I think this Pokemon going to be interesting, and I'm actually kind of excited for it. I think it's a great balanced one. Like, I know a lot of people expect a little bit more towards it, but I feel like still that here we can go for the Ultra League meta real quick. That is going to still expect a little bit more of it, but I still think it's a fine Pokemon to have. I think it's still going to be an interesting one to have here as well. Here, it's Sludge Bomb already in for the Ultra League. Ultra League, of course, you can have it as well. You need to use some XL candies on it. But we see here already that for the Ultra League especially, because you don't have those Pokemon that you can farm down, the Magical Leaf going to be better for it. So if you want to build one for Ultra League, this might be the way to go as well. You can take a look here at the 2 shields scenario as well. And you can, okay, 2 shields, of course, 2 shields is always going to be better for Razor Leaf. So, like, basically, it is not a direct upgrade all the time. It's an upgrade in the 0 shields. It's kind of neutral in the 1 shields. It's going to be better to have Razor Leaf still in the 2 shield scenario. So this kind of information that I can take for you. I think it's funny that they made a meme out of it. I don't know if we needed a meme after we had basically 2 starter community days that were not that great, and 1 community day that was like a meme already was Chansey, so don't really know if we needed this. But it's still going to be a decent Pokemon. I know there are going to be some people complaining about it gonna get Magical Leaf and not like Vine Whip or Poison Jab, which would be better for sure. But it is what it is. Hopefully you still enjoyed this video. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Definitely try to get one, and also definitely try to get one that is non-Shadow and one that is Shadow. I think both of them going to have some uses depending on what team you kind of want to have. So that's going to be it for this video. Can't wait to try it out on my channel. If you're interested in this, feel free to subscribe. Tomorrow there's going to be a legend run of mine as well, which I am going to showcase you then. So definitely stay tuned for this, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.